Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and I usually cover fashion, style and makeup, but I also want to do like videos concerning life, mental health, dynamics in relationships. So I don't want to be monolithic when it comes to my channel because there are more pressing things to talk about if we're being honest. So yeah, it's been years since I have posted anything and hopefully I'll keep posting. And I was a bit reluctant because I just didn't really know what to talk about, but there are a lot of things to talk about. So today's topic is making it past 25, and in particular failing. And this topic was inspired by three people. It's first Kanye, the second one would be J. Cole, and then the last one would be Ricky Rick. So with Kanye, it would be his song We Don't Care, J. Cole's 1985, and Ricky Rick, who was a superstar in South Africa, passed on unfortunately at the age of 34. He was a creative, so it ties into this. And let me explain all of these three and how they sort of inspired me to make this video. So with Kanye West, he was the first person to make a song about this or bring light about this. So the quote is, "We weren't supposed to make it past 25," which I think because he is a rapper and he was inspired by the Biggies and the Tupacs, they didn't make it past that age, and because of his environment he couldn't believe that he actually lived past that age. Quick mention, Kanye West was involved in a car accident in the year 2002, and that would have made him 24 at the time, so if he didn't survive he wouldn't have made it past 25. And with J. Cole, he was inspired by Kanye's song, took the lyrics, and his song was more about how the fast life comes to an end and you need to sort of figure out what you're going to do when that dries up. The last person would be Ricky Rick, and I am citing him as inspiration for this video mostly because of what the topic is about. He did talk about how he cannot believe he made it past 25 because of his mental health and how he was always thinking of taking his own life throughout his throughout his adulthood. Sorry about that. So those are the three people that inspired this video. I'm going to try as hard as I can not to talk about myself, but this is about me and how this theme has been on my mind lately, as to how I'm not really proud as to what my life has become right now. I'm proud of who I am, but not so much what my life has turned into, and it's uncomfortable. The body language is uncomfortable because it's hard to confront those shortcomings of self that, look, maybe I do like who I am, but I don't like where I am and I wish I could change that and all these things. However, I want to talk about how I didn't think I would make it past 25 because of my mental health and because mostly I couldn't picture myself living past that age. So I never really made plans for after 25 actually, which is crazy. I never really thought that far as a teenager that I'm going to be an adult one day with a house, a home, a family and all these things. So I think it kind of plays into what transpired, meaning the outcome of my life right now. So because of the blind spots, I didn't really plan for this. To kick off, it's a very uncomfortable topic and it's a very hard topic to confront and talk about. And when I was a teenager, basically, I did not know what exactly I wanted to be. And not because I didn't know, but because there were influences on what I should be. Everyone was like, be a doctor, be this, be that, and I feel like it was very unrealistic considering the person I am. I couldn't be that. And I was just thinking lately about how I attended this therapy session as an adult, and they were asking me to think back of a time when I was happy and healthy. And that was when I was 13, because that was when I had left my primary school. Going into high school, then things got a bit complicated, and my sibling left, and because of that, I had to face a few things back and forth with my parents. It wasn't really a good relationship, and because of that, I couldn't really make my own decisions. I was just aloof most of the time. I came across as someone who was disinterested or didn't really care about my future, wasn't passionate, but really I was just drowning, and no one was helping me see exactly who I wanted to be. And it was a horrible time, because as a child you want to lean onto someone or go to someone and say, this is what I need help with, but everyone already had assumptions about the type of person you were, and because you are a black sheep in the family, no one wants to really hear your side of the story or wants to offer support. That's the other thing, like support. It was very difficult to get that from anyone. So school was a lot of pressure because I was in an academic school. I couldn't really envision anything outside of how they were talking about careers. It was either you're going to be an accountant, as I said, a doctor, geologist, all these things that were very great careers, by the way. But because I was a creative, I did not know how to actually just be myself and sort of support myself in that way, to say, okay, cool, these are all great stuff, but you are yourself. What do you want? What do you want? And that's then created a lot of anger. Yeah, that's the right word. It created a lot of anger. Like my head, I was just like, if I could really explain it or express it, it's like a lot of heat coming into my head, and it would show in my facial expressions, because I came across as someone very angry. Actually, I was labeled an emo at some point because I'd always wear black. I'm wearing black right now. Can't believe it. But I was labeled an emo, and it didn't help that I listened to rock music. So I was just stuck in that world, and I couldn't come out of it. And because of that, I thought that really I would die young. I thought that I would die young. And because of that, I didn't make plans for the future, and I didn't see my future. And because I didn't envision my future, I couldn't even manifest anything. Other than that, I knew in my head that it would be over at some point. So I know that's hectic, but this is not to say that I wasted time and didn't make use of opportunities, because I ultimately decided that I wanted to become either a fashion designer or choreographer. And what happened was that I leaned into fashion design, and I got into dressmaking school. I also did retail because I wanted to learn the business side of fashion, which would be like, customer service. That's very important, actually. And also merchandising. I learned a bit of makeup, but I didn't really get to work in the departments in the way that I wanted to work. But yeah, so I wanted to do fashion. However, I think the hard part was also having to face that I actually needed support in terms of going forward with that career, because you do need, it takes a long time to become a solid fashion designer. And I didn't have the funds, I didn't have like the support, because also I was working, and then I ultimately went on to do public relations at Boston Media House. And it was a nice experience, because obviously furthering your studies is very important, and also just growing your craft in that way. I was also in an environment that I really enjoyed. I was studying at St. Braamfontein, which opened it opened my network to people who were like-minded, who dressed like me, thought like me, expressed things like me. It was a very great experience. And guys, I forgot to add a significant fact. Rick was actually a Brom kid. That's why he's so special to me, and that's why his death hit so hard. So yeah. And when I say, not to say that I wasted my time, but I could have used that moment and network to sort of build relationships around that and grow in that. Because what I did is that I wallowed in this depression and in my introversion, that, oh my gosh, like everyone is out to get me. I think that's the thing about depression, you always think the worst of it. And I think sometimes this is why the older generation says it's demonic. I think that's why, because it's not always the truth. What you think is not always the truth. It's not that people are out to get you and everyone is your enemy. But I think that when you suffer through that, then you do not know how to determine who is for you and who is trying to use you, or who is just trying to destroy you. And I just want to advise anyone who is going through that, even after 25, just try to use whatever people around you in that space that you want to get into, the field you want to get into, and try to build a network around that. And I met a lot of incredible people which I've lost contacts with. Some are even older, some I'm scared to approach, some I think have moved on with their lives. They're not in the fields that they were in, or they have families now, they're married now, and they had to go a different direction, and it's over. That part is over. So my advice is just do what you can with what you have right now in terms of the environment, especially if you want to get into the arts. And I don't know, like for me, I hate how depression took away so many opportunities and made me believe that I wasn't good enough for this and that. But it's not worth it giving into that energy, because ultimately you go back to step one, or square one. You go back to that point, and though you can fix this issue, you have all the time, but it's not the same. It really is not the same. I started feeling the heat at the age of 21, because this is the big age for the black household. In South Africa, it's a huge celebration, and everyone was very happy that I wasn't pregnant. So they threw me this big party, which I didn't want. And I don't know if I'm going to talk about parenting, like not parenting, but like my relationship with my parents at any point, but I'm sure it will come up a lot, and it has affected me in a sense that a lot of core things or issues that surround the way I am are from this particular relationship. But they threw me this big party. Yeah, you're not pregnant, it's great. I didn't like that, because I don't know, like I just felt like there's so much more to life, and I needed more. I needed empathy, I needed emotional support. I didn't need a big party with people I might never see again, or who don't know exactly what is happening in my mind. So that's when things actually fell apart. and that's when I actually wanted to end it all. That was the pinnacle of, yeah, all the most depressed I was, and the most I wanted to end it all, just end it all, because though like life was okay, it wasn't bad at all, but whew, I was just overwhelmed with everything. So all this to say, you can always change the direction of your life, and I just felt like for a long time after I turned 25, I was very numb. I'm still working on getting in touch with my emotions and feelings again, but it's still very tough, because ultimately, maybe when I did actually turn 25, something shut off, and maybe the actual death is the emotional death, or like really caring about the future. But you can always change that at any time. So I think that this video, it may not have direction as to what the conclusion is. However, it does have a conclusion for me, in a sense that I understand now what the significance of that age is. It is a huge milestone. It is when things are sort of settling, and you kind of know as to what your life will look like, you know. A lot of people have their solid partners, then they have their solid jobs, but it didn't work that way for me. I'm still trying to find my feet. I'm trying to see exactly where I should be, and it's very embarrassing, but it's what's happening right now. So yeah, thank you so much if you've tuned in until the end of the video. I will try to make more videos like this, hopefully more informative and more of like, this is my advice. I don't really know, I don't really have advice. I'm also human, I'm also learning, I'm also just trying to figure it out. So yeah, thank you for watching, and hope you like, subscribe, and comment if there's anything else you'd like for me to talk about. Peace.